So today we're going to be checking out Mercedes-Benz Select. They do have a few flankers to this one, all of which smell completely different. For example, they have a Select Night, completely different scent than this one. This one we're going to be focusing on Mercedes-Benz Select, again, just the original here. And this one is an eau de toilette concentration. So this one came out in 2018, not a new fragrance by any means, and it's also one that has been covered and talked about in the fragrance community before, so it's nothing that is a hidden gem or something that hasn't received any publicity. This one has been brought up a few times. However, this one is a new recent discovery for me, and it's one that I do really enjoy, and it was enough to make me want to go ahead and share my thoughts with you guys. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And we're going to be checking out Mercedes-Benz Select Eau de Toilette. I'm going to tell you how it smells, how it performs, when you can wear it, and ultimately if I think it's worth picking up. I will also provide a link to this one down below in the description. This one can be picked up at discounters for a really good price. If you guys like videos like this, reviews, top 10 lists, and all that good stuff, make sure you get subscribed down below and turn on notifications and like the video. That shows me that you like these videos, and well, I'll keep them coming. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into it. So first up, let's talk about the scent of this one, and while we're at it, we'll go ahead and address the elephant in the room. If you're not aware of this scent, you will find that this one is compared a lot to Creed Aventus. Now, I knew this going into it, right? I saw the fragrance. I ended up subsequently looking up the notes on Fragrantica to see kind of what I was getting into here, and yes, I did see right away the comparisons to Creed Aventus. However, you will find that there are a couple key ingredients that are in Aventus that are not found here in this one, those being pineapple and birch. And of course there's a few others as well because Aventus has a pretty extensive note breakdown, but the main two that kind of make up the bulk of Aventus are not actually in this one. However, you will find that this one does focus on a few of the other prominent notes, those being ambroxan or ambergris, blackcurrant, and bergamot. And you also get some of that apple and musk as well, which is also found in Aventus. So when you first spray this one on, you will notice right away that yes, this one does have a striking resemblance to Creed Aventus. Yay, another Aventus type fragrance, right? Kind of. You will find that the main differentiating factor here is going to be, again, pineapple and birch is absent from this fragrance, but also you will find that this is a much more fruity, bright, and juicy take on Aventus. So over the years, as you are, I'm sure are aware, you'll know that Creed Aventus is not what it used to be. Back when it was released in 2010, it was a very smoky fragrance, right? It was using a lot of the birch that was not nearly as regulated as it was now, and it just had a very smoky appeal to it. Over the years, IFRA has come in and made changes to their regulations. There's been multiple reformulations, batch variations, all of that stuff. I mean, if you do a search of Creed Aventus, you're going to find batch variation frenzy. It's everywhere. So it just has changed over the past 10 years now. Take the newest batch of Creed Aventus, which kind of has been trending more and more in the fruity direction again as these years go on. Take that, and this one is still fruitier. So again, you're really kind of getting something a bit more different here than you may think when you check out this fragrance. And that was really good news for me because I don't want a straight up Aventus clone, like a one-to-one clone anymore. I have them, and to be honest, I don't need any more of them, and I don't think the fragrance community needs any more of them either. I have Creed Aventus, like the real thing, multiple bottles of them, so I'm set there just by having the actual real fragrance. I do have multiple of the Parfums vintage inspirations on Creed Aventus, which are, in my opinion, really some of the best if you're looking to get as close to Aventus as possible when you take into consideration quality, the actual scent itself, how close it is, and just all the different batch variations. The Parfums vintage ones, in my opinion, going to be about as close as you can get without getting the real thing. You do have multiple designer takes on it. One really popular one that is a newer release as well is Mont Blanc Explorer. That one came out and people were going crazy over it. And if you look, there's actually kind of a cult following for Explorer, just like there is for the actual real Creed Aventus. And again, I've made my thoughts on that fragrance clear on the channel that I'm just not the biggest fan of Explorer. Opening smells good, but I find for me the dry down is lackluster. It's kind of almost watery to me in a way, and I've described this before, but it really loses a lot of depth in the dry down. It's just kind of watery and light for me, and it's just kind of is very flat in the dry down. And by flat, I mean there's not a lot of scent depth. When you smell something, for example, Real Creed Aventus, or a lot of other fragrances out there of which have higher quality and more composition, you can smell that there are layers to that scent. Whereas Mont Blanc Explorer, in my opinion, to me, to my nose, and the dry down just kind of is a bit flat, kind of two-dimensional smelling, and I wasn't too crazy about it in the dry downs. And that's the most important part of a scent. That's what sticks with you the longest. The opening smells really nice, really catches your attention, but it kind of falls flat for me. So Explorer wasn't really a good designer take on Aventus for my personal taste. It works for a lot of people. That's awesome. It's an affordable one that has good performance and does get you that Aventus feel, but for me it wasn't it. So when I discovered this one, I'm like, okay, this is a designer take on Creed Aventus that I can actually get behind. And again, this one is going in even more of a fruity direction. And again, that opening is absolutely amazing. Like, it seriously smells super good. Primarily what you're getting up top is a lot of that black currant that you get from Aventus. It's the black currant, some bergamot, and ambroxan. Again, you get some of that apple as well mixed in. All of this is on a nice, relatively clean and simple musk. So when you look at the notes, and even when you smell this one, it's pretty simplistic. Aventus itself has a lot of notes, a lot of layers. This one mostly is focusing on those top notes, the bergamot, the black currant, the apple, and so on. Of course, the ambroxan is giving it a nice base along with the musk, which is, again, a very familiar thing in Aventus. So I do find that this one does smell really good. And again, while it definitely 100% takes inspiration from Creed Aventus, it also is kind of putting its own twist on it and even more of the fruity direction, which smells really nice to me and is very vibrant and uplifting. I also find the quality of this one to be surprisingly good. I wasn't really expecting all that much. Now, I have found pretty much across the board from what I've tried, these Mercedes-Benz fragrances usually have really good quality. And of course, you know, they are kind of falling in the mid-range-ish designer price, sometimes even a bit lower, you know, anywhere from $30 to $50 on discounters, which is not all that much money, and they do offer really good quality for that price. A lot of times with either car company fragrances and, you know, celebrity fragrances and stuff, you kind of don't know what you're going to get. Some are super cheap smelling, some are more expensive. I would say Mercedes and Bentley, some of the best brands from the car brand fragrances that all offer really good quality and really good bang for your buck fragrances. Now, one of the drawbacks for me is performance. This one's not going to be the best performer. And again, this one goes back to the fact that this one's mainly focusing on top notes. Again, like I just mentioned earlier, the black currant, the bergamot, the apple. That's a lot of what makes up the majority of this fragrance. And as you know, fragrance notes like that don't last that long. They evaporate off pretty quick, and you're usually left with what's in the base. And in this situation, mostly ambroxan musk. You have patchouli in here listed as a base note, which I don't really get too much of. Mainly in the dry down, what I mostly get is the ambroxan musk and still a little bit of that leftover black currant. So longevity on me is about 6 hours or so, which isn't too bad. Sometimes I'll get a little bit more. It just kind of depends. Projection, it's okay. It's not going to be the best, and do keep in mind that this one may cause you to go nose blind because the ambroxan is pretty strong. And for me, I go nose blind to ambroxan pretty often, so be aware of that when you're testing this one. Again, even keeping that in mind and getting feedback from others, like my girlfriend who is around me to kind of, you know, judge the projection, I still found projection to be pretty moderate. So performance is not winning any awards here, but again, at the price of this one and just how good it smells, for me personally, especially the opening, I'm okay with that. Again, we already touched on price here of this fragrance. I think it's really honestly pretty good price for what you get. We'll go ahead and start to wrap this one up. My final thoughts on Mercedes-Benz Select EDT. I think it's actually pretty good. Definitely exceeded my expectations. Again, I was going into it thinking, okay, another Aventus type of fragrance. Am I going to regret getting this one? And I can say the answer is no. I'm glad I picked this one up. Quality is great. Performance could be better, but it's not awful at the same time. Just the overall composition, blend of notes, and the more fruity aspect of it, I really like. I think it's a great scent. Do we need more Aventus fragrances? No, we don't. But it is what it is. This one came out a couple years ago, so at least it wasn't a new release this year. I would say if you're into this sort of thing, pick it up. It can be a beater scent that you can spray on and not have to worry about wasting Creed Aventus or some of your other more expensive scents or more expensive alternatives to Creed Aventus. So that's going to do it for me. That's my thoughts on Mercedes-Benz Select. If you've tried this one, let me know what you guys think down below. A link will be down below if you want to pick this one up as well. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow morning with another one. Take care.